In a value migration world, it becomes critically important to ask the question, how does profit happen in our business, and to focus on creating the greatest market share there. When Roberto Goizueta, the former CEO of Coke, talked about the curse of the revenue line, he didn't mean that he hated market share or sales. He just wanted everybody in the organization to understand where the profitability really was and to focus the system on that. When this morning I heard about Ed talking about better and explaining it as attracting the right customers at the right price and keeping them, hopefully forever, I think it's the kind of illustration of it's not just about growth, it's profitable growth and profitable growth that's protected for a very long time. So value migration forces us to ask, how does profit happen? It also forces us to ask something else. Not only what are our great new products and our great new processes, both of which are important to success, but what is the business design or business model innovation that we're doing? And we all intuitively know what a business model is. It has 4 or 5 overarching strategic dimensions. What customers do I choose to serve? Why do they buy from me? What's my unique value proposition? How do I make money? What's my profit model, either from the transactions or the relationships? What's my source of strategic control? How do I protect my profitability? And then finally, what's my scope? How narrow or broad is my product line? How narrow or broad is my participation in the value chain? Listening very carefully this morning, you can tell me better about how Allstate is already evolving its business design, how SRM is providing a much, much sharper focus on distinguishing between the highest value customers and the others, how the product line is being evolved to create a unique value proposition. And as we talk about it this morning, what I would invite you to do is think about what's our business design today and how does it need to evolve in order to continue the extraordinary track record of success that's being built over the last several quarters. Practitioners liked the discipline of value migration because of its explanatory power and because of its very specific prescriptions. But they were hoping that the pace of value migration would slow down because change is good, but too much change makes us tired. Unfortunately, the pace hasn't slowed down. You have before you 3 examples of companies who lost a considerable amount of value, not through today, this is their market cap over time, but through September of 2000, before the general meltdown of the market. Could you please name for me the 3 dot-coms that are on this chart? Well, I apologize, they're not dot-coms at all. They're companies with tremendous brand names and once great business designs that started to lose their value before the general meltdown of the market. Nor are these exceptions. We could spend the next half hour going through companies whose business design did not evolve to keep up with the changing requirements of customers and competition. Now, those of you who are looking at the bottom of the chart and looking at the losses would have said to me about a minute ago, come on, Adrian, a 50 to 60% value loss does not a dot-com make. In order to be a dot-com, you have to lose 90% of your value or more. And you'd be absolutely correct. So here's our second chance. You have before you 3 companies who have lost 84 to 98% of their value. And this one is, unfortunately, a little too easy because the vertical gives it away. There's a 3 billion loss, a 40 billion loss, and a 240 billion loss. Can we name the dot-coms this time around? Again, apologize. Companies with great, great brand names and once great business designs that have lost a tremendous amount of value. What is going on behind these examples? There are clearly very particular and idiosyncratic things that are happening around each of these companies. But if there is one common denominator that cuts through all of them, it is the growing inability to answer one simple question from the investor, and that is, how are you going to create sustained profitable growth tomorrow? How are you going to create sustained profitable growth tomorrow? If you've done the research on value migration, you can get caught in your own orthodoxy and say, oh, this is just more value migration. But if you think back to the examples of the companies that lost that value, did the value go from Gillette to somebody else? or from Maytag to somebody else? No, not at all. The value went away, there was no beneficiary, and it's a little bit like value migration without that right-hand side, without a beneficiary to the right.